And we're live. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
So I feel like we have a lot of people here already.
I know. I see Andrew.
Deanna.
I see Jeanette. Nope, Keish.
Keish. Yeah, Keish, Mackenzie.
Keish,
Alani.
I miss you. I just want to say that I miss you, Keish, in home base. I do. Kenzie's here, or Keeney.
Likewise.
Kenzie Keeney.
Keeney. Madison, Maya Brown, Nolan, Amber, Rosa, Lauren, Emma Walker. Uh-oh, I lost my place.
They're coming in and saying hello, and here. There's Taya and Aubrey, who I was just talking to, and Grace. And is that a different Maya? I'm like going back and forth and trying to figure out who we missed and who we didn't. Ricardo.
Yeah, different Maya.
Yazzy's there, and Daniel, and woo.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's great.
It's early. I was trying to, like I told you, I was giving them a little bit of a guilt trip about coming.
Well, I mean, really.
I was. Elia. This is awesome.
Anthony. Woo.
I don't know, Mrs. Smith. I'm feeling like there's a lot of my students in there.
I feel like I'm going to have a hard time taking attendance today. Like, I didn't write down any of those names. I think we're going to have to, like, have you write your name and period at the end of this because I cannot keep up to write down.
Yeah. I just, in case you didn't hear me, I feel like there's a lot of my students in here today.
Well, that's why I said we have to write it down because you're making it feel like there are more of your students than there are of my students. I guess when we play the game, we can see. And Rosa said we had 19. Where did that go? Why did we lose people?
I'm seeing 21 now. I think that's like, I mean, if we could get, I don't know about you, Mrs. Smith, but I would like to get that number. I feel like we never get that number anywhere close to where we had it last spring when we were doing these daily.
I mean, really, when we had like 60 people on and like it took us 10 minutes to say hello.
I mean, I feel like they're just giving us. I just keep getting. Do you remember this song? This song that
Oh, he's gonna play.
Remember that song?
I have no instrument skills. They're giving us the runaround. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I feel like. We're getting the runaround. They're not coming. They're not running. But today they are 22. All right.
The question is, do any of them know what band that is? Are they cool enough to know?
Even we gave them the song name. I knew that you would know.
That was almost our home base's choice. I mean, that was my home base's choice. Or maybe, did I put that in as like my song? I can't remember. It was something by them.
I had another song played by them. So.
No clue. I can't even.
I know. Well, you're old now. So,
I keep dropping my pencil. Dion?
No.
What? No. It's not Weezer.
We might be old geezers, but it's not Weezer.
I mean, I like Weezer, but that's not them. It reminds me of Nirvana. I'm like getting off topic because I'm feeling like the pain right now.
Aubrey says she didn't know I could play guitar. She must not have been in any of the live streams that we've done from my house, right? All right. Just because there's always
stupid. It's okay.
No, it's okay. You guys wouldn't know. They're not a real popular band anymore. So anyway, if you want to check out a cool band, go check out Blues Traveler. That's an old Blues Traveler song.
And Mr. Sooner and I both like them, so it's nice.
We digress. All right. Let's do homeostasis. Let's get on to this. We want to talk today about homeostasis for a little bit and then play the every Friday game that we always play. So we play the game on Friday. Mrs. Smith, do you want to pull that worksheet up on your little document camera?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So what we thought we would do today is go over the first homeostasis worksheet. I know that there's some of you in here that have turned this in. I'm going to ask that you pay attention anyway, because I think it's a good review for you. A lot of times when you turn it in, we get to review a couple questions with you, but maybe not go through everything. Not that we're going to necessarily go through everything today. If you are working on this sheet, this is like perfect timing for you. If you haven't started the sheet yet, this is like a good preview for you. Any way you look at it, this should help you get through homeostasis unit. So,
my students, you should be done in it. It should be in the bin in my room. Anyway.
And so if it's not, this is a good way to make that happen on Monday. All right. We got the paper up on the screen. We are not going to draw the molecule because Mrs. Smith drew the molecule last time we did this. And so you could go back and look at one of the old ones. So we're going to jump down probably to question number 2 and go from there.
All right. So I feel like it's small. So I'm going to try to get a little closer here. And my camera was probably going to start to fall. But it says, how does facilitated diffusion differ from diffusion? So if you think about it, okay, diffusion we know is just moving through the membrane, going from a high concentration to a low concentration. Facilitated diffusion, the word facilitated means help. So this is where we need the help of a protein that is going to be folded in a certain way to allow certain molecules through. Remember that picture Mr. Suter showed last week if you were here, dealing with that fun toy that we all used as children about different blocks going in certain places, like the squares going squares, the hearts going hearts, okay, because it's semi-permeable. So the only difference between facilitated diffusion and regular diffusion is the fact that it's using the help of a protein. It's like you walking through a doorway instead of through the wall. The next one down, I kind of gave you a hint about this already. So I just talked about the whole channel and I used a word in front of it. Okay, whether it's a carbohydrate, a lipid, a protein, or a nucleic acid. And I'm sure as I'm going to the next question, my students are going to be all over putting in the comments there, Mr. Suter students too, what that correct answer is for number 3. So what type of organic compound makes up the channel and/or pumps that help to move materials from one side of the membrane to the other?
Is shape really important to that? Yeah. Shape would be really important, right?
Yes.
Like as a hint. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you're giving a hint. I thought I was like, what are you asking me, Mr. Suter? Because I'm confused. But don't
Emma
worry.
got it. Lauren got it. Grace got it.
Your student is right on top of that. Emma getting in there first again, giving us the protein. Good job. Okay, and so the last one on this sheet says distinguish between active and passive transport. And I know that we talked about this last week as well, Mr. Suter, in our live streams about what the difference is between active and passive. You know, passive, you're just sitting in the water, sitting in the boat, traveling downstream. If you want to go against the gradient, against the flow of the river, you need energy. So active transport is going from a low concentration to a higher concentration upstream, upriver. And so you need energy, of course, in the form of. And then passive transport is just flowing from high to low. So it says, give an example of each. So essentially you could talk about, you know, materials moving from high to low, talk specifically about small molecules. You could even use water as an example through osmosis, which leads us into the question on the next page. Yes. And I love seeing you fill in the blanks here with what you know as you go to the next one. So then this next question, okay, the difference between diffusion and osmosis. So essentially, when we talk about diffusion again, we already said, you know, what's the difference between diffusion and facilitated diffusion? Well, it's essentially asking the same question because we know that osmosis is just facilitated diffusion of water. So really, again, we're dealing with a protein, and specifically, we're dealing with the movement of water. Right, Mr. Suter? We're going to pop down now down to question number 8. So this part of the middle, Mr. Suter and I kind of talked about, and I went over this with my class as far as the organelles and things. We touched on this in the cell unit. We're going to come back in the DNA unit. So this is just kind of walking through and thinking about that movement of how the cell works together and is potentially going to use the energy and to maintain homeostasis and to make those proteins that are going to be produced and used in the cell membrane. And so if you think about it, even back to Mr. Beichler's class, potentially, where does all the information start? And so you're essentially creating this flow chart. When it says trace, it's talking about like a flow chart. So you'd be filling in the 4 blanks of where it starts. So where does all the information start? Okay. And where does it end up? And you'll be filling that in. You ready for the diagram, Mr. Suter?
Sure. Let's do it. So, and you know what? No, that's fine. We'll do it off there. So we have this diagram that we have to fill out. And this is a 3D model of a cell membrane, and I've been for years trying to figure out how to get you to wrap your head around the fact that that double layer, that bilayer, wraps the whole way around a cell. So they're taking one, this is like if we had a basketball and we cut a square out of it and pulled that layer out and we were looking at it, right? It's just one little piece of the cell membrane. All right, so and obviously there'd be an inside and there'd be an outside, and it doesn't really matter right now what that inside and outside is. Let's look at this really carefully. And if you don't know how to draw it on the front page, almost everything you need is right here, right? So, I don't know, how do we want to start? Let's start with A. A is showing the whole thing, right? So if we're looking at that whole thing under A, that would be the phospholipid bilayer. So we're seeing the whole bilayer. We'll fill out the check marks here in a minute. Let's just kind of run through. So A is the whole thing. That's the phospholipid bilayer. I don't even know that you need a label, Mrs. Smith, but if you want to, that's good. So it's made up mostly of the phosphate heads and the fatty acid tails. And it looks to me like F is pointing to those fatty acid tails. So F for fatty, right? Fatty acid tails there. Those are those hydrophobic non-polar tails. And G is pointing at what? The phosphate heads. So that is the part that's attracted to water, right? The polar heads. B is a protein. So we see this big glob, you know it's a protein right away. And the interesting thing about B is that it goes the whole way through the membrane. So this is how we can move things from outside of the cell to inside of the cell. Now, from the picture, we can't really tell if that's a channel protein or I don't think we can tell. If we can, Mrs. Smith, just pretend we can't. It's a, it's going to be some kind of protein. H is interesting. I keep asking people get this confused. Look where H is sitting. It's sitting right on the edge. And so it's right on the periphery of the cell. And people struggle with that word peripheral. But if I ask you where your peripheral vision is, everybody's like, oh, yeah, that's like right back here. It's like the last thing. Like if I bring my hand all the way behind my head and I start to bring it forward, when I can finally see it, that's where my peripheral vision starts. Well, that's on the very periphery of the cell. C and E. Let's not distinguish between those too much, but you see those little things sticking up? Cells have to have a way to communicate with each other. Now, when I say communicate, it's not like they're calling or sending text messages, but they are going to be sending some kind of chemical message. And that happens when one cell can touch the other cell with certain structures. So C and E, I just like to think, see how they're hanging off? If there was a cell above that cell and they had ones hanging down, they could touch. I'm sure if you were to take AP Bio, you would learn more about those and what those actually are and things, but just not important to us right now. But Mrs. Smith is going to show off her knowledge right there and write it down. That's because more of my students are here than hers, and she's upset. If we look down to letter I is the last thing. And this is cholesterol. And what I'd like to do right here, I'm going to make the camera real big. We're going to go off of that just for 1 second. Because think about it, we have these two membranes that are floating side by side like this, right? You know, high-tech hand demonstration here, right? The way I like to think about it, when you stick they can move. So how do we kind of keep them in place? Well, we stick a cholesterol there. And so that cholesterol is going to kind of help keep them in place. And what you notice, I can still move my hands, but the more cholesterol I stick, so if I pick up all my pretty pens and stick a bunch of those there, the more I stick in between my fingers, the harder it's going to be to move my fingers. So cholesterol starts to add some rigidity maybe to that cell membrane. And this is why if you get too high of cholesterol, too much cholesterol, it can be a bad thing as well. All right, we're back on your paper.
Sorry, I'm thinking about the way that you said rigidity there, because like it does, but it also creates fluidity. So like imagine that when you're doing that, like if you have a bunch of you that have your arms, like, you know how you hold, like if you hold hands and then you like do, it's not the wave, but I don't know what you call it, you know, where you're going like, woo, like, and it goes through the entire pattern.
Can you do that again?
I'm like doing it one arm, like, you know, like.
Go ahead.
But anyway, thank you. You know, that it creates this fluidity and through that as well. So when you're shaking, you know, that fancy pencil, woo, if I shake it far enough, it looks like a pencil is not hard anymore, but that it's fluid and can move. You know, that's what cholesterol helps to do too. And I'm saying that because when you get down to this question here, it talks about the flexibility of the membrane. Just saying.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, okay. Yes. Let's go. Let's do that. So down at the bottom, real quick, phospholipid, and I have to look over at my paper because it's too small. Phospholipid bilayer, we said that is A, so we would have an A there. The integral, wow, can't say it, protein is B, and that word just signifies a protein that goes the whole way through the cell membrane. Fatty acid tails, F. Phosphate heads, G. Peripheral protein, we talked about that with H. Cholesterol, we talked about that with I. Moving down a little bit, attracts water. So attracting water is going to be G again. It's those phosphate heads, those polar phosphate heads, those hydrophilic phosphate heads, right? Involved in cell-to-cell, maintains flexibility of the membrane. Cholesterol, I. Involved in cell-to-cell recognition would be, I take either C or E there. And then repels water are fatty acid tails, F. Makes up the bilayer, A. And the last one there, helps transport certain materials across the cell membrane, is going to be B. And so if Mrs. Smith, really quick, on your paper, can you write in next to peripheral protein F, no, H, and then under cholesterol, write the I that goes there. Just bear with me 1 second. Now go down to the next section. And the first one is F. No, next to repels water. And then A. And then B. And I just want to thank you. Hi, Fabulous. You're fabulous yourself. All right. So you want to do the next section there, Mrs. Smith? Look what she wrote. She wrote hi, fabulous to me. Isn't that nice? Wonderful.
I can't.
That's how I grade it. All right, go ahead.
I thought you were doing this next part.
Oh, okay. And I feel like we're getting long here. So we might need to save some of this. What do you think?
You want to save this? Okay.
I feel like we're getting long because we told them we're going to bring them in for about 20 minutes. We're going to play the game and get going. I feel like we need to get to the game. We've gone over this a couple times. If you're still struggling with that, Mrs. Smith did a really, really nice job, a really wonderful job of going over hypertonic,
hypotonic, and isotonic.
Thank you.
Last week. So yes, you can always watch that video on SOS Biology where you're at right now, where we put all of our
fun. That last week, and I think that will get you through this worksheet. And if you're having trouble with it, you can certainly come and talk to us about it. Right. I want to play the game. We have.
I just keep going here too. For this last part, people are missing this. You know what I mean? What is this? As soon as you see this ATP molecule, you should be able to answer these questions. That's all I'm going to say about that.
You say. Looking at the chat, she said ATP. She said ATP, and in the chat they all say, all the people say yes. Andrew's first. Awesome. Do you want to pull the game up?
Yeah. Blue Kid is freezing on me right now.
Is Blue Kid giving you? That's a bad song.
What in the world is happening? I had to log. It's like making me log in multiple times and not showing me my sets.
Uh-oh. We might have a Blue Kid emergency. I see energy. I love it. I feel like we've doubled the amount of people that we have in here today.
Agreed.
But I feel like we're still missing a lot of people. You know what? After that speech, I feel like I'm giving bonus points to my kids that came, which is going to be such a pain in the butt to try and look up this entire list of students. But I'm going to do it.
It's in the share portion, Mr. Suda.
I'm going to do it, Mrs. Smith. And it might be the last time I do it. It might not, but I'm giving them bonus points just so they can come in on Monday and be like, really, you couldn't get up at 10:30, be there for 20 minutes, learn a little bit something, and play a game with us. Slackers. You're giving us the runaround.
We're going to like copyrighted for...
SOS stands for Smith and Suitor, Andrew Nahn. Or save our ship, because sometimes we feel like our ship is sinking.
Why is it not giving the code? Do you see that? I just realized that. Like, where is it at? There's no, like, it's not, something's happening with the Blue Kids, and I'm getting upsetted. Don't let me down.
Yeah, we're working. Thank you, Mackenzie and Emma. We're working on it. We're working on it.
Why is it not doing that?
I see people here today. Would it be easy for me to pull the game in that you have?
Potentially. I mean, you could try. I don't know what's going on. Like, it's...
Let me see if mine is. Let me see if my Blue Kid is working. Log in. How would I find it? It's my sets. Discover sets. Can I search for you, Lisa Smith?
Potentially. Should be able to.
I found Will Smith. Do you want to play Will Smith, Blue Kid? Oh,
I don't want to let your students down that like showed up, but I don't know. It's not giving me a game ID. I've never experienced this before.
So I see some homeostasis. I see some bioenergetics. I don't see one that's both.
Mine was called homeostasis. It's like, and I had both of them in there. So I don't know if that is helpful.
So if I just search homeostasis.
Yeah, you might be able
to. Do that. Give us 1 second, guys. No need to panic. Let me search by person. Megan the Fish, Mrs. Edmonds, Ultimate Burrito. The Ultimate Burrito made a game. Tell you what, should we just pick one and go? Let's pick one that has a lot of plays. Here's one with 25 questions, has 652 plays. What do you think?
Yeah, try it out. Because like I said, right now I cannot get it to pull up a game code for me.
Ooh. Blue Kid might be having problems.
Oh, no. What are we going to have to do? Resort to something else?
Gold Quest?
Yes.
All right. Those students that hung in there. There's no game code.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
What happens if I post? Yeah, there's no game code on mine either.
No.
I am so sad.
I feel like I gotta go to the Twitter and see if Bluekit is telling me it's down. It's because more people have found it and started playing it. It's like very frustrating. Let's see what Bluekit says. I'm sad, especially since we have some students that haven't been here.
I know.
It says, sorry if it's a little slow. We've been working to improve our servers, but we're still working on it. So maybe it's just slow. Like maybe if we leave it there, the game code will pop up and it's like just taking a long time. I don't know. But that's not really going to be helpful.
No.
I don't know what to do.
She doesn't want to do a code. I promise you, if Bluekit doesn't work, we will not do a Kahoot. Will not. I should play some guitar some more. I feel like it would have to be a very sad song, though, if we were to do that. Like, we would have to be like, do you know what I wish? Like one song they might know. All right. Is it not popping up, Mrs. Smith?
Yeah, nothing.
I'm so sad. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to extend our great appreciation for all of you that have joined, that are still here waiting for 5 minutes while we try to get Bluekit to work, even though it's not working. It is depressing. We are sad, but we're not sad. I'm actually leaving on a happy note because there's still a lot of you watching and with us, and we appreciate that to no end. We appreciate you that take the time to come and join us because you're trying to, do what you need to do to make your education better and all that. So yes, I am sorry. This is going to be goodbye. Don't you think, Mrs. Smith? I think this is goodbye. Wait, what's he saying? It's not goodbye. It's see you later.
And don't worry, it is not rest in peace, Bluekit. Bluekit is just trying to update, and apparently it got caught in our
It's like crossfire. A teenager. It's having growing pains.
I'm sad. It's sad. All right.
I would like to thank these people. If you didn't put your name in the chat, I didn't get it.
I didn't even write it down. Oh man, I'm gonna have to look back on my list here.
I tried to get it.
I saw Aubrey. I saw Kenzie. I saw Lauren. I saw Andrew. I saw Ricardo. I saw Elijah.
People are saying goodbye. Goodbye. See you later. Thank you for coming. Sorry about the game. I know, but the game isn't as fun as us, right? So it's cool. It's all cool.
Here, I'll be like some of my students are in the Zoom in the last couple of weeks. Mrs. Smith, don't you notice that this is happening? Yes. Now stop doing it. Goodbye.
Bye. See you later. Improa. Who's that? Is that yours? Did you write my name? Who's
No,
MP?
I don't know.
Well, M Pro? You need to tell us what your name is so we can write it down. I think.
I don't have any
We
M Pro.
we don't recognize your YouTube handle. Goodbye. Ah, Miguel. And you've been in here. I should know that by now, Miguel, but I'm old and I'm feeble.
Your Miguel or my Miguel?
I don't know.
Smith Miguel? Suter Miguel? Which Miguel?
That's interesting.
Oh, Taya was here too.
Add and lease. Yes, I did. I put it down. Oh, wait. We have to have at least one last challenge before we go. Because Ricardo and Andrew Nunn have this battle.
Oh, my gosh.
We have to figure out who the winner between them is for this week. So they need to have a question. So one question, and the first person to put the answer in the chat, one question. What would be a great question that we could ask that they should know, that they should be able to rattle off the top of their head at lightning speed, and it will be a real race to see who wins. Here is the question. What are the 4 major organic molecules?
You're so nice. I was going to give him something hard. Like, what is the protein that carries water?
I didn't hear you. Your mic was cutting.
I said I was going to do something hard and say, what is the protein that carries water molecules through the membrane?
Ooh.
Look at that. Lauren just killed them. She was like, I'm
Lauren
playing.
wins. Right. Today's winner is neither Ricardo nor Andrew Nunn. Have a wonderful day. We are all leaving now.
Bye.
Although Ricardo did beat Andrew, but
I don't even know if Andrew's still here. We're chatting at each other.
Lauren beat him. All right, we're ending it. Peace. Have a wonderful weekend.